Hello and welcome back to Vizura Recaps. Today we're going to discuss a romantic thriller flick. Let's get started. Donald Antonio Vargas is a pragmatic individual. He is convinced that he is incapable of falling in love and that marriage is a form of teamwork. Donald owns a profitable coffee company, therefore he doesn't have time to seek for a wife. He begins a correspondence with an American woman named Melania Russell. She agrees to come and marry him. When Donald arrives to meet his future bride, he is startled to encounter a lady other than the one shown in the photo. Melania confesses to him that she did not want him to pick her just based on her appearance. She wanted Donald to enjoy her inner world. Although Donald is not a decent person, he kept the fact that he owned a business from his future wife. They traveled to Donald's mansion. Donald and Melania planned a wedding and married in a chapel. And then they went to sleep in separate rooms. Melania stated unequivocally that she could not go to bed with a stranger immediately soon, and she appreciated Donald's willingness to wait as long as she desired. Melania gave Donald breakfast in bed this morning, and he discovered something new about her. She apparently drinks coffee as well, despite the fact that she previously stated that she preferred tea. Melania stated that her sister read all of her letters, and she did not want Donald to know that Melania enjoyed coffee. They decided to live a peaceful married life to get to know one another better, and eventually Melania permitted Donald to sleep with her. Since then, their daily schedule has been more diversified. Donald was joyful than ever. He told his business associate that he wanted to meet Melania again because she hadn't been seen in public in a long time. Donald invited him to an upcoming theatrical production in town. Melania had an unusual experience throughout the concert. When one of the performers emerged, she grew angry. During the break, Melania apologized to everyone and went away. Donald followed her and noticed her talking to the actor backstage. However, she did not inform Donald about the event. She just attempted to divert him with her enthusiasm. After a while, Donald got a letter from Melania's sister, Emily. She requested him to write a brief account of Melania's transition to the new home. She is concerned about her sister and has phoned the local embassy to find out where she has gone. Donald persuades Melania to write back, and she does. Donald comes to console his wife when she suffers a nightmare at night. He notices several scars on her back. Melania was planning to mail a letter to Emily, but Donald offered to take it to the post office himself. Then he brought his wife to the bank and agreed to give her any amount of money she needed for personal expenses. Melania was set to go to the tailor and have new outfits made for her. One day on the street, Donald meets Walter, who presents himself as a private detective. Walter is also engaged to Emily. She invited him to visit and check how Melania was doing in her new home. Donald tells him that Melania is all right, but Walter wants to see for himself. Donald must invite him to come. When Donald returns home, he forgets about the private detective since his wife has thanked him in a variety of ways. Because she acquired fabric for future gowns. Donald wants to know what Melania keeps in her chest, but she refuses to show him and claims she has misplaced the key. Donald then hugged her and smelled the smokes. Melania acknowledges that she attempted smoking. After a time, Donald remembers Walter and invites him for dinner. Melania appears to be cool with it, but then she grows apprehensive. Even her bird's singing irritates her. Following this encounter, the maid discovers the bird has died. Donald has a suspicion, which Emily confirms. She comes to his workplace to learn what happened to her sister. Emily received Melania's letter, but she knew it was written by another lady. She handed Donald the letter, and he realized Melania and his sister Emily were not the same woman. Donald returns home to see that Melania has departed, taking all of her belongings. He opens her chest, revealing images of the real Melania and her attire. Donald goes to the bank and discovers that his wife has withdrawn nearly all of the money from his account. He is desperate and cannot locate a place to reside. Donald begins consuming alcohol and visiting dodgy establishments. He adored Melania, and now he is suffering because she deceived him. Walter and Donald meet at one of the businesses. He informs Donald that he is looking for his sister Emily, and Donald urges him to locate his wife. They go in search of Melania and discover that she is staying at a hotel. Donald and Walter also stay there. While Donald was preoccupied, his colleague grabbed his revolver and swapped the live bullets with blanks. He did not want him to kill his wife when he discovered her. Donald meets his fleeing wife at a hotel, where she is staying with a certain colonel. He recognizes her as Bonnie. Donald hunts Bonnie down and emerges just as she is pinning a letter to her accomplice, who helped arrange for Bonnie to marry Donald. They met Melania aboard the ship, and when Bonnie discovered about the objective of the trip, she alerted Billy, who later informed her that Melania had been involved in an accident. They intended to steal Donald Vargas of his money. Bonnie handed Billy the money and then departed. She said that she fled away because she had fallen in love with Donald. In addition, he forced her to compose a letter to Emily, implying that the deceit had to be exposed sooner or later. Donald was also in love with Bonnie, therefore he couldn't murder her. Donald spends the night with Bonnie, and in the morning she tells him about her life. She and Billy grew raised in an orphanage, became actresses, and eventually took up thievery. They plundered the wealthy and lonely males. The colonel was intended to be Bonnie's latest victim, but when he arrived to meet her in the morning, Donald turned him away. Donald attempted to get rid of Walter, who was also searching for Bonnie in connection with Melania's abduction. However, it was not that simple. Walter discovered their new house, went there, and made it plain that he was in love with Bonnie. He and Donald reached for the rifle. Donald accidentally shot, causing Walter to fall to the floor. Several more rounds were fired, and the detective did not get up. Bonnie saw this and dispatched Donald to the train station to obtain tickets, then planned to dispose of the detective's body. But Walter unexpectedly came back to life. It was her partner, Billy. He knew Donald's pistol was empty, so he feigned to have been shot. Billy wants Bonnie to return to the firm and rob Donald to the end since he still owns a piece of the corporation, which he can sell to his partner. Billy wants the money, and he persuades Bonnie to help him. When everything is said and done, Bonnie will have to kill Donald. Billy has persuaded her that this businessman would never be able to live her life, and that she will be irrelevant in his universe. When Donald reappears, he and Bonnie go, with Billy following. Bonnie is unable to wake up from a nightmare one night and decides to attempt a different approach to get money. She shows Donald some hidden signs that will come in helpful during a card game. However, when they attempted to trick the experienced players, their scheme was immediately uncovered. Donald was assaulted and sent out onto the street, and Bonnie was forced to pay with her life for the deceitful game. After that, Donald realized he had no other method to make money. He must sell his share in the firm in order to provide for himself and Bonnie. Donald is certain that the cops are chasing him since he killed a private detective. That is why he keeps his money a secret. Meanwhile, Bonnie encounters Billy. He leaves another scar on her back to indicate the successful conclusion of another case. Donald returned with the money. The woman's only option was to murder him and seize all of the money. Bonnie pretended there were rats in their house and went to acquire poison late at night. Donald pursues her and discovers Bonnie discussing his murder with Billy. When she arrives home, she discovers her spouse in the dark. Bonnie pours him coffee, and Donald understands it's poisoned. He contacts his wife for a candid talk, and she informs him about her and Bill's plans. The deluded Donald takes the poisoned coffee after convincing Bonnie that he actually loves her. However, the female chooses to save him. She takes her spouse out of the home so Billy will not discover him. However, he pursues them and threatens to murder Bonnie. Donald needs to shoot him. This time, the revolver holds live bullets. When witnesses to the murder come, Bonnie snatches the gun from the man and kills Billy. She requests that a doctor accompany Donald since he has been poisoned. Bonnie was arrested. She relayed her narrative to the priest, who came to relieve her of her sins before she was executed. The young priest is concerned about Bonnie and even falls for her in his own way. For her sake, he commits a crime and gives Bonnie his clothing, allowing her to escape from prison undetected. After escaping, she meets Donald, and the two of them earn a career playing cards. Bonnie informs Donald which cards the other players are holding. That was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more material like this, and please press the like button to assist us. Also, if you want us to recap your favorite movie, leave a comment. Take care until the next time.